of events. There's no need to be afraid. I'll sing with you, my friend. Come on, come on. I wanna sing, I wanna shout, I wanna scream till the words dry out. So put it in all of the papers. I'm not afraid. They can read all about it. Read all about it. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah, we're a wonderful, wonderful people. So when did we all get so fearful? And now we're finally finding our voices. So take a chance, come help me sing this. Yeah, we're a wonderful, wonderful people. So when did we all get so fearful? And now we're finally finding our voices. So come with me and come help me sing this. I wanna sing, I wanna shout, I wanna scream till the words dry out. So put it in all of the papers. I'm not afraid. They can read all about it. Read all about it. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. I wanna sing, I wanna shout, I wanna scream till the words dry out. So put it in all of the papers. I'm not afraid. They can read all about it. Read all about it. Oh, oh.
Thank you, Maya. That was beautiful. And now I would like to introduce our guest speaker for the morning. This morning for our Cum Laude Assembly, we are pleased to welcome M. Brian Blake, PhD. Dr. Blake is a computer... I'm having trouble with the thing here, blocking my line of vision. There we go. Dr. Blake is a computer scientist and software engineer who is the Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost at Drexel University. He has a long and illustrious academic career. Previously Dean of the Graduate School and Vice Provost for Academic Affairs at the University of Miami, he was also an Associate Dean for Research and Department Chair and Professor of Computer Science at Georgetown University. His area of interest is software engineering and the integration of web-based systems. He has published more than 150 refereed articles in this area. He is an advocate for increasing and supporting diversity in the fields of computer science and other STEM disciplines. And lest I forget one of his other very, very important accomplishments, he is the father of Blake in pre-K class and Brandon in the 6th grade. That certainly ranks up with the others. Thank you.
Thanks for such a wonderful introduction. I think I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize Maya again. Isn't her voice beautiful? To the students, distinguished members of SCH instructional staff, special guests, and friends, I'm so honored to be able to address you today. I think having served as executive vice president and provost for the past year, I'd say, probably the most important and probably the most common question I've received was, what is a provost? It's come up every time, so I figured I'd start off by saying that. So actually, I think maybe I was maybe a week after receiving the job offer, I thought about the same question. So I thought maybe as a dean of the graduate school at University of Miami, I thought I'd go to my provost and I'd say, he was my direct supervisor. I was like, what is it about the job? And he looks at me, he's like, I have the perfect example for you. And I said, the perfect definition. So I was like, oh, great, this will help. So he said, have you ever been to the circus before? So I was like, yeah, of course. I've been to the circus before. He says, well, have you ever been to the circus and when the elephant comes in and there's a female or a male that comes in a tuxedo and a big top hat and with a cane and they're cheering on the crowd and everyone's happy and, I'm getting excited. I'm like, yeah. He says, well, that's not the provost. He said, but if you ever let the elephant pass and the person behind the elephant cleaning up, that's the provost. So, actually, a better definition probably is the provost oversees academic affairs for the university. So kind of like the co-pilot for the president. When the president's not around, I'm the president, which is kind of disappointing because we do for different things. And also I get the opportunity to oversee faculty, students, staff, curriculum, research. So basically I get a chance to kind of see how the school runs internally while the president, I always say he's out kissing babies and shaking hands and things like that. So, but it's it's really nice to be able to share these insights today, particularly at ceremonies like this. And like she mentioned, I have two sons, and I think that my first son's Bryce, and he's pre-K, and then my other son, his name is Brendan. So for this, he's sixth grade. When I was asked to do this, I didn't ask for money. I didn't ask for anything. The only thing I asked for is I was like, if there's any way you can make sure that Natalie Swartz does not graduate. I think she's back here. Because she's looked over Brendan and Bryce as we've arrived. So we got to somehow figure out how to have someone take over for her because she's been amazing. So it's great to see Natalie on the stage. So I'm just so delighted to like I said, to address the crowd. My background, I'm actually a Southerner from Savannah, Georgia. I spent 8 years in public school, and then my high school years I spent in a private Catholic military academy, and that's a totally different story. I've always liked working on computing, and I started programming in 5th grade. About 100 years ago, that was actually a young age to do that. So everyone here, I think all the students have probably had started earlier, I think. And when I was young, programming wasn't really, on an iPad or, on a PS4. It actually was, you worked on a computer, some of the early ones. So, and we programmed in a language that was either BASIC or Pascal. And we didn't have CDs or DVDs or flash drives. We actually had these things called computer disk. I don't know if the students in here, have anyone ever seen a computer disk? Oh, one person, wow. Is that Maya that says that? There we go. So basically, when I first started, the computer disks were this big, and then they were this big, and they were really small. But that's what you stored your data on. It didn't really store a whole lot of data. But when I first started programming, you didn't have a computer disk. You actually had, how you would actually play a computer game was that you would subscribe to a computing magazine. And when that magazine came in your mailbox, you pull it out, and it would actually have the computer code on it, and you'd have to type it in. So you type it in, you compile it, and then you could play a game. And the game was like, silly stick figures. It wasn't like exciting like what you see now. But in typing it in, it's just natural that you make mistakes. And if you don't understand the code, then it's hard to really figure out where you made a mistake as opposed to going line by line. So that's pretty much how I learned to program. Does anyone here know what the real history of a computer bug is? Oh, at least one person. So I don't want to destroy it for him, but I'm going to go ahead. Well, I won't destroy it for him. He won't destroy it for you. So basically, back in 1947, computers were as big as probably 3 refrigerators in a row. There's actually, well, at least 2 stories for this, but one I think is pretty interesting is when you first started programming, you actually had these punch cards. So it's like pieces of paper with holes in them, and you would stick them into the machine, and that was how you programmed it. So I think somewhere around that time, and it's either a punch card or a relay, a moth flew in and it covered one of the holes. So when the computer was processing, it didn't have the right code. So that was kind of the history of a bug in your software, because it actually got in and actually changed it. So the interesting story about that, and this is me actually as a recruitment for computer science, is that the story goes back to Grace Hopper as like one of the early computer programmers of the time during the time we were kind of in sort of a wartime. So it's pretty interesting to kind of go back, something like that, something as small as that traces back to a female who's computer scientist. That's an area where we could really work hard to recruit more to come into these fields. So I think it's pretty interesting to say that here, particularly considering our crowd and our inductees. Well, after programming for many years in high school, I actually decided to go to Georgia Tech. And I decided to go to Georgia Tech for computer science, but I actually became an electrical engineer. In fact, I did my undergrad and grad in electrical engineering. At the time, electrical engineering paid more than computer science, which is not, quite the time here. And for those of you who are considering going to college, usually you go to college for 4 years for your undergrad. You do 1 or 2 years for your master's, and you do another 4 to 6 years for your PhD. So that's actually 4 plus at least 6 more years to get up to a PhD. Not trying to discourage anyone, but that's that's kind of the path. I actually worked full time through my graduate life. So I worked at companies General Dynamic, Lockheed Martin, General Electric, and worked at the MITRE Corporation. So once I finished my PhD working, I actually took time to, at that point I got the opportunity, someone told me that a PhD was a teaching degree. So I took the opportunity to be an adjunct, which is a part-time teacher at Georgetown. And I just realized that, and this is the interesting thing about the students in the room, is that whereas I wanted to start a consulting firm, it's like when I had the students in the classroom, I realized I had the most energetic, forward-looking consultants I could actually have. So when you work, I've graduated 8 PhD students. When you work with PhD students, they already know that some things don't work, whether they won't work or not. But when you work with students that are either in undergraduate or in high school, they don't see any boundaries, and I think that's amazing. I think as I look in the crowd, I see so much providence, because you still can see the world how it might be, and not, at my age now, I have all of these boundaries and obstacles, but you don't. You kind of see that, and I want you to kind of embrace that and make sure that you don't lose that, at least not sooner than later. So in preparing these remarks today, basically I wanted to kind of phrase them around a theme, push the limits. So there's a quote from Booker T. Washington. He's actually a pioneer in leading education in the South. So I always try to quote him because it's really inspirational to me as an academic leader now in 2016. He said, "Success is to be measured not so much by the position that one has reached in life as by the obstacles which he or she has, I added if she, has overcome while trying to succeed. Life truly is a maze of choices and interactions that we navigate." I'd probably say the most transformative decision in my life came during my freshman year at Georgia Tech, and it was actually at a time when, and it's kind of related to that quote. It was a time when I was kind of I was still pushing the boundaries, pushing the limits, and for whatever reason, when I came to Georgia Tech, and I'll give some background on this, I really wanted to be a resident assistant, an RA, and you guys will figure this out, who are the students and our inductees. An RA is actually a student that works in the dormitories that helps to manage the housing. So you get the job. The good news about it is you get free housing, and also good about it is that you get a small stipend. It's probably enough to go eat once a week. It's not a lot. So, but it's a really cool job. I mean, I thought it was, and I really wanted to be an RA. I just saw it the very first day I entered, and that was one of the things that I really wanted. So I remember, and I was at Georgia Tech, is on a quarter system, very much like Drexel. And at that phase, I went to the very first meeting. It was like the first quarter, probably just before December, my first year. And the resident hall director came to the meeting, and he said, he pretty much was giving us the idea of what an RA was and that we should apply and all these things. And then one of the things that he said was that he said, you know, we like to see sophomores become RAs. We don't allow freshmen to become RAs. And that freshman being obviously your first year. So, you know, I waited eagerly. I just kind of sat there. I waited. So he finished speaking, and he says, any questions? Immediately, I put my hand up. And I was like, you know, why can't freshmen be RAs? And, you know, he had a really good answer for this. He said, I think that freshmen need to come and get acclimated first, get to know the system, and then when they become, you know, a sophomore, they're in a good position to become RAs and be effective. So, you know, I was kind of like this impetuous young kid, so I immediately put my hand back up again. And I was like, I'd like to beg to differ. I think that if you allow if you don't have freshman RAs, what you're going to do is you're going to allow everyone to come in and understand the system too much, and then you won't have real change. And so I think you really need to get RAs in the system that haven't already gotten acclimated to the system. So, you know, he said, you know, I appreciate your perspective, but, you know, I'm going to maintain my point. So I was like, oh, well, whatever. So it was, I'll tell you, it was like, so it's 3 quarters before the summer. I got a call at the end of the second quarter going into the third quarter. And, you know, I came home from class and I came in and my answer machine, and this is another, you know, aging thing. An answer machine is like this box that you have. It sits by your phone and you plug it in, and then people call and it records a message like a tape recorder. I know, you know, we don't have those as much anymore, but so I came in, there was a message on my answer machine. I pressed the button, and it actually turned out to be the resident hall director. And he called and said, you know what? One of the RAs in your dorm has to leave the university. I want you to become the first freshman RA. I was like, wow. I was happy and panicked all at the same time. So I became RA. I think there probably was no other, you know, crazed RA like I was, you know, in the first year or whatever. So he probably was right. But the moral of the story is this. So, you know, I came in, I did a lot of programs as RA. I think I did a good job as being a freshman RA, if you will. And, you know, my second year, what I wanted to do was intern with a company, and General Electric was one of those companies that had one of the really, really good internships. So I like to think I was the very best Georgia Tech student with a high C+ average. So I didn't have the highest GPA as an undergrad. I think I learned a lot about time management, but that poses a challenge when getting internships. So I must have sent out 50 different resumes to get the job. And I get a call from General Electric recruiter, and they were coming to campus. So the recruiter comes to campus, and you know, I was really gung-ho about getting the position. So you know, she came in and said, I'm going to have a meeting with you after lunch. Turns out that she went to school with the resident hall director that gave me the position. So by the time I met with her after lunch, the lunch she had with the resident hall director, somehow my name had come up, and he'd already said, you know, what I had done and how I had done the RA-ship. And literally, we didn't have an interview. She pretty much, I already knew I didn't know, but the way she approached me in that meeting was that, you know, I was going to have the position. So, you know, I guess the moral of the story is that I don't know if it's that you gotta raise your hand and challenge the man or anything like that, but I think it's important that you keep your opportunities open, think about, you know, kind of what you really want, and be open to articulate that. So to our new inductees, I say, you know, don't be afraid to push the limits. You have been forged in a rigorous scholarly program. As SEH students, you have organically been trained to operate successfully in any setting and with any mix of people. You exude scholarly excellence, so you're among the best students. You have digested the state-of-art instruction here and practices. You have created new knowledge in the classroom, and now you emerge on the other side, you're inductees into this wonderful honor. Finally, I think you're bold, and be bold. I think you have boldness. You have swagger. So your administration says SEH is good and great, and it's going to be better. So, and they're going to continue to be better. So you're students of SEH. Again, you have this bold, open perspective. You're the new world leader. So, you know, take that in, you know, embrace that. Sometimes it's difficult to be bold, but remember your foundations are here and you've learned a lot and you're ready to kind of move out into the world. So in conclusion, I just want to say, chase your dreams, embrace those obstacles, always be open to new opportunities, and don't rule out opportunities too soon. Nonetheless, choose your opportunities wisely, being careful to keep the future in mind. If you ever find you perceive to be an absolutely the best opportunity, then, knock really hard, knock that door down and, kind of go in. Remember, you have swagger. You're from SCH, sorry. So with that, thank you so much. It was a pleasure speaking to you. Congratulations to all our inductees. I look forward to meeting you later today. So.
Thank you very much, Dr. Blake. Okay. We will first recognize last year's inductees. Please stand as your name is called. Anab Adid. Julia Dardaris. Reeves Hunter Ferry. Zachary Michael Halfpenny. Taylor Harris. Andrew Roman Cassian. Rosalind Marie Kosica. Brian R. Laird. Alexandra Prochniak. Mercedes Allison Reichner. Ryan Matthew Torrey. Michaela Jessica Watson. Congratulations. You may be seated. Now we will recognize our 2016 inductees. Please come forward when your name is called to receive your certificate and your pin. Gwyneth Grace Bajordaman. Ellery Scout Crandall. Remy Filippini. Iman Alessandra Floyd Carroll. Anna Patrice Kane. Leah Marie Kochenauer. Amelia Rose Marcantonio Fields. Reed Elizabeth Momjian. Nicole Sophia Novo. Francesca Marie Reitmeyer. Natalie, I was going to call you, but you're not graduating. Natalie Cubbin Schwartz. And now for our juniors. David Edward Brenman. Hannah Naomi Clark. Reka Mira Dylan Richardson. Gabrielle Elizabeth Dunning. Noelle Skull Gowdy. Annabelle Lee Grove. Sophia Paige Hagley. Wajen Jun. Joya Isabel McGivern. Wei Seen Cindy Pon. Chinan Vince Chien. And EJ Lisa Zhao. Congratulations, SCH Cum Laude Society.
Congratulations. A great school takes time to recognize outstanding achievement, as we have done with you this morning, and also to affirm every student's growth and accomplishment. Both are important. Cum laude, those three Greek words that you heard, the one that stands out for me as I think about your work and this school is justice. Excellence and honor without justice are hollow. I think the words are worth taking to heart. And I would give you two pieces of advice, one current, one ancient. The current advice is from an SCH 5-year-old, part of this month's celebration of poetry. She gives this advice, good advice for us all. Slugs, slime, not soft, not good to step on. Watch out for them at night. Excellent advice. Second advice, somewhat more ancient, from the great thinker Marcus Aurelius, who, after a life of accomplishment, a life of outstanding achievement, and an interest in honor and justice, wrote this book, Meditations. And the first 40 pages or so of the book are devoted to thank yous, thanking all of the people who've made a difference in his life. And he thanks many, many people. I won't read them all to you, but I will read his thank you to Catullus. Each thank you is something he learned. To Catullus, he expresses thanks for teaching him never to spurn a friend's criticism, to speak of one's teachers with wholehearted gratitude, and to love children. Wonderful words. Watch out for slugs. Love children. Take your friends' advice seriously. And remember always to thank your teachers. Congratulations to you all.